Imagine your hero gets hit with a poison spell and then gets hit again and again, draining your health 3 times as fast as intended. But how do we fix this? Well, professional games use a secret filter to prevent this from happening. I'll show you how to ensure that no matter how many buffs or debuffs your player picks up, your game stays clean, fast, and most importantly, fair. So let's dive in. Now, before we dive into the code, we need to understand what a set is. Simply put, a set is an unordered collection of unique items. Think of it like a bouncer at a party, where only the exclusive and important data is let in. Now, I know what you're thinking. When should we be using sets? Well, you shouldn't be really using sets all throughout your program for whatever. You should really use sets only for whenever you need pieces of your data to be unique, such as if you're tracking game states or tags, or you're tracking the status of your player, like whenever the player picks up buffs or debuffs, and track that as well. And also, like in tower defense games, the enemies, they travel to each tile or each node one time, because you don't want them to travel back and forth between nodes, because that would just look kind of weird and be kind of broken. And with this uniqueness, it's actually really self-sufficient, because with a set, it has this filtering system within it where it does not accept duplicate values. So if you get a poison spell thrown at you, and then you get another poison spell thrown at you, you don't get affected twice. And sets are not only good for unique data storage, but because of this reason, it makes them extremely fast for looking up different items. And going along with this fast membership lookup, it makes it really fast doing mathematical calculations as well. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jesse, stop rambling. Let's just dive into the code, right? All right, but first, let me tell you what we're going to be learning in today's lesson. First off, we're going to be showing you how to create a set, and then we're going to be showing you how to add new items to our sets. We're also going to be looking at removing existing items and also checking the sets if they have a certain value within them. And I'm also going to show you the different operations, such as comparing sets, differentiating between sets. So go ahead and open up your idle program and let's dive into the code. All right, so now here we are into the code. And if you don't already have your idle shell open, go ahead and open it now. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a variable and assign it to a set value. So our variable name is going to be player underscore active underscore buffs equals, and there are 2 ways to set up sets. You can either set it up with the curly braces here, but you have to have items in the set for it to be active, otherwise it'll create an empty dictionary. And the other way to create a set is you type out the set keyword and give it a pair of parentheses. But for this one, we're going to give it some value here. So we're going to use the curly braces, and inside of our set, we're going to write invincible. Give it those quotations, and then enter on that. We'll go ahead and print our player underscore active underscore buffs, and it shows us we have one item in there which is invincible. Now our player can't just have active buffs. Our player is also going to have active debuffs at some point, right? So let's go ahead and set that up. Go ahead and type out player underscore active underscore debuffs. Oops. And we're going to use that. We're going to set that up using the set keyword, because it's going to be empty for now. Now let's say that our hero Magus is walking along and he accidentally runs into a fence wire that's electrical. At that point, one of our debuffs would be that we're electrified, right? So we need to add that to our debuffs set. So in order to do that, we type out the name of the set, the variable name of the set, which is player active debuffs. And then we type out a period and the word add, give it a pair of parentheses, and inside the parentheses, oops, let me try that again, I accidentally hit the enter button, player active debuffs dot add, give it a pair of parentheses, go back inside, and we'll do it right this time. We're going to type out electrified as a string, hit enter on that, and now we can print to see what we have in our player active debuffs. There it is. It shows us we have electrified. All right. Now let's say that our electrified debuff has finally worn off after a few seconds. And we have to remove that debuff from our debuffs set. So in order to do that, there's two ways. And the first way is to do it like this. Type out the name of the set, which is player underscore active underscore debuffs, and type out the period, and you can do dot remove, give it a pair of parentheses, and then we're going to put in our electrified debuff. Now this will remove our electrified debuff. Enter on that, and then we can print out our player underscore active underscore debuffs to see, and now we can see that our debuffs are empty. Now let's say that we wanted to remove another debuff. Type out the set name player active debuffs dot remove, and let's say that we wanted to remove the electrified debuff again. And the problem with this is that we'll get an error because electrified is no longer in there. As you can see, the key error is no longer in there because we just removed it. Now the more robust way to remove an item from the set, and the more conventional way, is to use the dot discard method, because that will not give us an error if the item that we're trying to remove is not in there. So to do that, simply type out the name of the set player active debuffs dot discard, give it a pair of parentheses, go back in there, type out our electrified string debuff, hit enter on that, and you can see we don't get any errors because it just automatically is like, there's none in there, so just forget about it. Therefore, in that case, which is good because it wouldn't crash our game and cause a lot of problems like rage quits and whatever. The next thing we can do is we can check to see if an item is in our set. So we're going to use our player active buffs for that. And for this, we're going to simply type out print, give it a pair of parentheses, go back inside, and type out the string invincible, and do it just like we did when we added it to our set up here when we first assigned it. And then finish typing that out, and then after you type out the word invincible within those quotation marks, type out in for in, and then put our player active buffs variable there, hit enter on that, and it tells us true, and telling us that the invincible string is in our player active buffs set. Now let's say that we wanted to do that for something that was not in our set. We'll say that we were stunned, okay? Or we thought we were stunned. We were just, all right. Type out stunned, and then in for in, and we're going to see if this is in our player active debuffs. All right, and then it'll tell us false because it's not in there. So our debuffs set is now empty, right? So I guess we weren't stunned. We were just kind of flabbergasted by the NPC we saw across the way. Next, what I want to show you is that we can compare the same elements between our player active buffs and our player active debuffs. And this is going to show us what items are found in our active buffs, but not in our debuffs. And the way to do that, type out print, give it a pair of parentheses, and then type out our first set, our active buffs, so player active buffs, and then use the minus symbol, and then we put our player active debuffs after that. Alright, hit enter on that, and it shows us that invincible is in player active debuffs, but not, says that our invincible string is in our player active buffs set and not in our player active debuffs set. The final few things I wanted to show you is some things you have to watch out for, and things you can't do with a set. Now, the set being unordered means you cannot index into it like you can a list or a dictionary or a tuple. And you also cannot add duplicate items because the set, like I said, the set is automatically set up to delete and not accept duplicate items. And intuitively, you can't remove items that are not in the set because that just makes sense, right? I'm going to show you real quick if we wanted to add invincible to our player active buffs. Again, we'll type that out, player active buffs dot add, give that a pair of parentheses, type out invincible, hit enter, and then we'll type out print player active buffs, and you would think that we'll get 2 invincibles, but really we only have 1 because it has that automatic deletion. And that is all I was going to show you in this video for the demonstration. Whew, that was quite a bit, don't you think? Well, now you know what sets are and how to use them. So here's a little exercise for you. So first thing I want you to do is obviously create the set. Name the set active effects. Next, I want you to use the .add method to add the string refined to your set 3 times in a row. After that, I want you to check the count by using the len function and print how many effects are actually in the set. And even though you added it 3 times, let me know down in the comments how many items you have in your set. After that, I want you to use the .remove method or the .discard method to clear out the refined string from your set, and you get extra credit if you use the correct one. And finally, print out the set to the console to confirm that your status bar is now empty. And then post your code in the comments below. So to recap, in this video, we learned that a set is an unordered collection of unique items. We learned that one of the best use cases for sets is tracking your player buffs or debuffs. And we also demonstrated creating the set, adding to the set, removing existing items from the set, comparing the sets, and as well as checking to see if certain items are in our set. We also learned that the set, since it has no order, there is no possible way to index into it like you would a list. And we also learned that sets have a special filter built in to not accept duplicate values. So if you have any questions or you just want to say, hey, leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And stay tuned for the next video in this series where I will be teaching you how we make decisions in our games. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.